Welcome to the Zesty Ginger Podcast. We are Megan and Dr. Alex. We are here for transformation. Yours, ours, and the collective. Personal and professional for practitioners. But not just any transformation. Compassionate transformation. Because between the two of us, we have seemed to have done things the painful way. Let our pitfalls become your stepping stones. We aren't afraid to share our raw and vulnerable truths in order to help you transform your thinking, your body, your heart, and your soul. Combining 15 years of functional medicine with brain-based habit change to lead you to the best life possible in a compassionate way. Compassion, yes, yet plan to roll up your sleeves. Transformation requires your participation. And a quick reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor, not this doctor, before making changes. Now let's get into the episode. Hi everybody, Dr. Alex here with you. I hope that you're having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to talk about the habit of not caring, or sometimes I just say the habit of nonchalance. And it's because this is a really common habit that I see play out now, and it's really damaging, actually. It's so funny how I keep seeing books about like how to not give an F, or how to not care, or how to stay nonchalant in life, and things like that. And I think it's coming from a place of people realizing that detachment is an interesting and important concept in life. However, it has been turned into a whole lot of other things that I think do not support the other habits that people want to create. Because honestly, that foundational habit, as you can imagine, starting to talk about it in the framework of habits, if you have that habit, how much are you going to care about your other habits, right? So like there's some serious flow that's happening in the societal narrative right now that feeds into this a lot. And one of the things that happened that brought this to my attention was I was actually hanging out with my little sister, and she was playing games online with other kids, and well, they're not even really kids anymore, but other young adults. And I didn't hear exactly what was said, but it sounded something like, I don't care about this, or that doesn't really matter, nothing matters, or something to that effect. And I heard my sister and then someone else pipe up louder so that I could hear. And it was really cool to, I loved my sister's response and the other kid, and they both just kind of jumped in like, hey, like, it's okay if you care about that, and like, it's okay if you are into it, right? Like, it's cool if you want that to happen, or whatever it is. And so it made me stop and think, because I have already been noodling on this, and that moment where I could see young adults talking to each other from growing up in this society and taking that on and making decisions whether they want to keep doing that or not, really highlighted to me how much this can be a habit and how much it gets role modeled out in the world and for our children, and how much it can also not be role modeled, because there's families that obviously have a much different narrative going on. And so why does this matter so much? Is a lot of times people will focus on the benefits that they're going to get, like money, right? The results, like I have a coaching business, I want to make money, that's how I know I'll make an impact. I actually love that concept, right? That's a really cool thing. However, when we look at results sometimes without some of the other things that I'm going to talk about today, what happens is when the going gets tough and that result seems to move out of your way as you're heading towards it, then people get frustrated. And I do believe that it is our foundational values and commitments and the things that we really passionately stand for that bridge that gap between I am already this person and I don't quite yet have the results, to I am this person and there's evidence in my real world of exactly that, and it is exactly the way that it is aligned with me, right? And so with this, when we get into the habit of protecting our heart, which is essentially what it is for most people, we say, okay, well, I've been burned before, that program didn't work, that protocol didn't work, this launch structure didn't work, this email sequence doesn't work like that, I follow the post guidelines exactly and my posts don't go viral. Whatever it is, there is a protective mechanism that happens when we are disappointed or when we're hurt or when life just doesn't seem to be going in that way, that in the way that we want. And a lot of times that's when people step back and they close off their energy. They're essentially closing off their heart. And they say, okay, I may not get the results, but at least I won't have this pain, right? But honestly, the habit of not caring or telling yourself you don't care about something, or that it's okay if it doesn't happen, or that life's okay just like this, what happens is that when you begin to reinforce that for yourself, it ends up taking the wind out of your tires for everything else, because it begins to take so much energy to hold that basically inauthentic desire, and you cannot actually get rid of your desires that are in your heart. And now your energy is split. And so what is happening with the creative power that you have? The creative power that you have is then split, and it further keeps your power away from creating the results that you want. So the very protective thing that people do is the thing that is actually blocking them from that. And sometimes, a lot of times, people don't see that. It happens a lot in love, right? It's like, well, let me not fall in love with somebody. Let me not open up my heart. Let me not really be there, because then I won't get hurt. But do you really feel loved? No. Or, yeah, I'm not going to keep trying new things. I'm not going to keep signing for programs because, my launches aren't going well, my business isn't going the way I want. But then once again, it comes down to, well, then are you making the impact that you want to have in the world if you're not taking the actions then that protect you, or from a protected place, you're not taking the actions that would actually benefit and put yourself out there in the world. And that is why I think the habit of passion is the best thing to replace the habit of not caring with. The passion of being real with yourself and saying, yeah, I know these health things, I know I've been struggling for a while, and I know sometimes it seems kind of bleak, but I'm not over it. I will be healthy. And the same thing is true for business. If you know you have something, if you know that you can help people, if you know that you know things that other people need to hear so that they can benefit and the whole world can be elevated, well, then the antidote to that is really being real with yourself about how passionate you are and how good you are at it. It's frankly kind of BS for people to be like, I'm not that great, it's alright, it's not really happening, blah, blah, blah. And it's very hopeless and underpowered. Right? And I think the real question that we all have to answer is, how much passion do you have for this? Right? Instead, just setting aside the whole, I've been burned before, I've been hurt, it hasn't panned out, and just say, do I really care to help people? Because when we focus on that and we look at where we're going instead of what we're scared of behind us, it gets us through those obstacles. Things can't stop you because the passion you generate is from you. Obstacles can come, problems can come up, life can life and throw you off kilter. But that passion that you cultivate does not waver unless you do. And that's the kind of thing that people talk about confidence a lot, and how to feel confident, and dressing and affirmations and whatever. My argument for confidence is that you build confidence by proving to yourself that you are who you say you are, and that when you say, I believe I can help the world, you actually devote yourself and commit yourself to doing just that. And the way that looks is often much different than following other people's exact formulas or the sequencing or exactly what you do, which is where most people get stuck on. The courage to actually be passionate will fuel how you want to help the world, what it looks like for you, what your launch structure is like, what your emails look like, how you post, whether you start a podcast, whether you do YouTube. There's 1,000,010 things to do to help the world, and Lord knows we all desperately need a shift in this world for more love, right? At the same time, if we all keep looking around and waiting for somebody else to do it, it's not going to happen, right? So sometimes the really scary thing is to make the decision and say, I will open my heart to this. I may not know how I'm going to do it. There may not even be, this is how you know you're really a leader. You may not even have anybody to look at that is doing what you want to do and how you do it, right? There wouldn't be a need for you if someone was already doing it. And that is why what's going to fuel you to actually create that out in the world from scratch, from nothing? Will you care enough to see it through? And the coolest part about all this is that out of all the habits that we can create and hardwire and stuff, this one is one of the easiest ones to rewire, in my opinion, because when you access passion, the emotion of passion lighting up your brain when it is real will automatically elicit the other parts of your brains that are hardwired to that passion, the things that you care about, the things that you value, the things that you look at and say, this is why I'm here. And we know, that's what happens with trauma negatively, right? A negative experience plus a strong emotional response gets hardwired quickly. But the same thing can happen with passion. Honestly, a lot of times I'll just start talking to somebody and I'll be like, okay, well, tell me like what you want this for. And sometimes, depending on how closed off their heart is, they're like, takes them a second to get there. But usually once they get there, it's like, is it your kids? What do you want their life to be like? All of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I know exactly what I would want it to be like. I maybe even if it's not the details, it's more like I actually know exactly the feeling that I would want, right? I want them to feel this way. I want them to look at the world this way. I want the world to seem this way to them. It's often not subconsciously the most powerful to attach our passion to just somebody else. But at the same time, we're not in a vacuum, right? And so I'm certainly very motivated to create a better world for my sister, and I'm never going to deny that that's the case, right? Even though I know exactly why I'm also doing it for me and for the world and everybody else. So this one I would put in the category of this is a decision to make. Will you keep protecting yourself, or are you ready to just go out and do what needs to be done in the world and show up as your best self, and at the end of the day feel really proud to do that, right? That's what it looks like on the other end. And this whole bogus nonchalance stuff that we are getting into as a protective mechanism is really not it. So where I'm going to launch this directly into a transition, because you're going to actually hear a story next. And this is going to be a little series on the podcast. But you're going to see how this translates. Like, you will actually hear the line from this directly to what you're going to hear next. So stay tuned.
I used to think that there was a very specific road, a very specific plan, a way that would get me out of my stress, that I should move forward with my health or with my career or with anything really, that had to be done a particular way. And if I wasn't doing it right, and if I wasn't doing all the things, then I was the reason why X, Y, and Z wasn't getting better. What I learned is that there is another option. There's the possibility of doing parasympathetic tools that you actually enjoy, like going outside or singing a song. There was the possibility of being able to be my own advocate and make my own plan for what worked for me. And it didn't have to be doing all the things all the time. And come to find out, that's what helped me take care of my body. That's what helped me take care of my mind, was finding something that was supportive of me and realizing that it didn't have to be what worked for someone else. It didn't have to be everything. And it didn't have to be even the things that supported me. It didn't have to be all of them every single day. It was creating a different relationship with the things that we can do to make ourselves feel better, whether it's exercise or journaling or parasympathetic tools or spending time with friends and family or creating boundaries. I just found that I can actually listen to my own brain and let the rest just kind of fall into place.
Thanks for coming out to hang with us on the podcast. It is our goal to transform the way women are treated in healthcare. And we need your help. We need your help to get the word out. We have a lofty goal of 1 million downloads. And we know that as this podcast grows, we're going to be able to reach more women, get more amazing speakers for you, and bring the most cutting-edge information.
If you found these podclasses helpful, please take a moment to text 5 women you know the link to the series. We appreciate your help so much. Can't wait to see you next time.